Social media is like a casino, except you're the gambler and they're the house. And as we know with casinos, they always win. Social media platforms are designed exclusively to keep you on them, to keep you watching, and put ads in front of you. That's it. Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook do not care about your Auntie Deborah's 58th birthday. I promise. They just care about advertisers giving them money so they will show you the ads and people buy things. That's it. That's all social media is. It's just a trap to try and get you in the door and sell you things. Social platforms need your attention and will get it any way they can. In the same way that YouTube have just added games to their platform. They're probably thinking, if you're on here playing games on YouTube, you're not on Facebook. That's literally it. They just need people on platforms. They need eyeballs. That is all. All we are doing is using social media. We are risking our spare time or useful time to make the gamble that you will be rewarded with something funny or entertaining or interesting or shocking. We just want a tiny snap of dopamine just for that 1 second. And the worst thing is, the more time you spend on social media, the higher that bar gets. If I showed my granddad, who's in his 90s, Instagram, the first time he saw a cool car, he'd be like, whoa! I'd be like, no, granddad, that's not that big of a deal. We see these all the time. Because things get normalised. Really extreme, unique, crazy concepts and things just get normalised to where you see something that's ridiculous, but you've already seen something like that, so you just move on. If you saw that in real life, you'd be like, oh my God. But because it's on social media, it's so common, it's so frequent, we just scroll right through. Social media is remarkably similar to dramatised television. Literally. That's all it is. It's like a semi-scripted TV show, but it's put under the guise that it's real. A lot of people fall for that trap and think, oh wow, look at these people on a yacht doing this, doing that. There'll be a few that it is real. Fine, cool. But a lot of it's just for you to watch, just for them to grow their channel or their page and them to collect the ad revenue or them to sell you a course or them to sell you some merch. That's literally it. It's just about getting money, both for Facebook, both for influencers. It's just a big circle of attention from you and money for them. It makes me wonder how kids, young adults, or even adults are supposed to go through life thinking that they're satisfied about their own existence, when every single day they're just getting these unbelievable things put in front of them, the Ferraris and the girls and the cars and the trips and the boats. How are you supposed to be happy working at IKEA, doing a normal job, providing for your family, buying a 2-bed house for your first house? That's great. But compared to this, these mini mansions and things going, people just go wild, but people forget it's not all real. Or if it is, it's from some unique circumstance, you know? We don't think about that. We think, oh wow, sorry, they put it in a way where it's like you just need to work a little harder. You need to try a bit better. You just need to be a bit prettier and a bit more attractive, and everything will work out. That's not true. That's the trap that social media is making people fall into, and it's really costing humanity quite a lot. I've got some statistics for you that I found fascinating, and I've dug into them and I've made it sort of tangible because they're ridiculous. So there's 5 billion people, 5.07 billion people use social media every year. And out of that, the daily average is 2 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 20 minutes for 5 billion people every day. And that's on average. There will be people that don't log in today, but also there is people that have been on Facebook for 10 hours. That's just the average. That is shocking. So we wrote it down. We've got 5.07 billion people on Earth. Cool. 2 hours, 20 minutes a day. Sweet. 140 minutes for easy maths. That works out to 4,317,000,000. No, I am wrong. 4,317,950,000,000 hours per year spent on social media by all of us. And to put that into context, those numbers, you see a number like that, and you see a number, wrong page. You see a number and it's trillion, and I had to just double check that. I'm like, have I got the right amount of zeros here? Because that's a silly number. 950 million's a lot. 317, like, it's just stupid. And that's hours per year spent. What could humanity do with 4.3 trillion hours every year? And to try and make those numbers make sense, because 4 trillion is a number that we don't come in contact with a lot, I've tried to make sense of this using pyramids. You know, how they took a long time to build and all that. So it says it took about 20,000 people to build a pyramid. And it took them 20,000, 15 to 30 years. We're going to take the extreme and say 30, just to be conservative. So that's 20,000 people. Let's pretend they do a 12-hour workday. I know a lot of them were slaves, but we're not getting into the politics of the pyramids. That's not the point. Let's pretend it's a 12-hour workday. That's a long day's work, I'll be honest. For 30 years, Jesus. 20,000 people. So that's 240,000 worked hours per day. And you think, oh, well, that sounds like that's a lot of hours worked per day by 20,000 people. That works out to 87 million hours a year. Times that by 30 years equals 2.628 billion hours. So 2.6 billion hours to build a pyramid. You think, oh, okay, well, that's a lot of hours. Do you know how many pyramids we could build if people stopped using social media? We've got 4.3 trillion hours divided by the 2.6 it takes to build one. We could build 1,643 pyramids a year. That's 4.5 pyramids a day. And it took them chaps 30 years. Granted, the logistics of that don't make sense. We couldn't have 5 billion people contributing to building a pyramid. I get it. We don't have the resources, the materials. We could probably even do that faster now in this hypothetical universe because we've got better equipment and better machinery. You know, nobody's cutting through a giant stone with, like, I don't know, a tin saw that you made. I don't know. Anyway, 4.5 pyramids a day. And we could just knock them out. Just wherever, you know. It's just such a crazy statistic that I've never seen anywhere else. And it just made me think, I'm like, oh my God, that's horrific. And I understand this, that you can't literally add up every person on Earth. You can't take 2 hours, 20 minutes off of all 5 billion people and do something constructive with it. But all 5 billion people can choose to do something constructive for themselves. They could be working on their goals or their future. They could be working on skills. They could be working on all sorts of things. You know, it takes about 750 hours to be fluent in a language. And you think, well, 365 times 2 hours, it's going to be 2.2 hours, whatever. It's going to be like 700 or 800 hours a year. So in the next 12 months, starting right now, you could swap social media and speak Mandarin this time next year. And then the year after, you can speak another language, like Spanish. Granted, it's not that easy. You're not sat on a bus being like, hola español. Put your headphones in and just learn Spanish, but you could. It doesn't sound that appealing right now, I get it. But the point is, you can make more use of your time than using social media. Some of the negatives of social media, like decreased attention span. People are so used to these days flicking onto an image or a video and they give it 3 to 5 seconds to see if that's for them. They flick onto it, they might not like the tone of someone's voice, gone. And you just think, oh my God, can you imagine starting a Netflix series, watching a generous 20 seconds, turn it on, you sat there, you know, Walter White comes in, and you're like, nah, that's the end of that. You'd never get anywhere in life. It's just bizarre. Another one's increased anxiety and depression. Far too often we spend time watching social media, looking up to these influencers of these elite lives and the money, the wealth, the attractiveness, the this and that. That makes people feel bad because they're looking at themselves, working a normal job, living a normal life, driving a nice-ish car, thinking, I'm doing terribly. Well, no, you're not. It's just, that's the exact same thing as watching something on Netflix, watching Walter White on Breaking Bad, thinking, oh God, I wish I had 800 grand in a barrel buried in the desert. Yeah, well, we know that's not true. We know it's not real. It's a dramatisation, and we're sort of aware of that. But with social media, we tend to accept it as reality more. Poor sleep quality. This is one that I will hold my hands up. This gets me. I'm not a social media user. I use it for business. That's it. I don't use it personally. I don't use my Facebook. I don't see anything. But I use YouTube. I like to watch YouTube. I like to learn. I went to bed last night at 11:30. I went to bed at 10, and ended up watching YouTube videos for an hour and a half. Woke up this morning, knackered, thinking, I could just stay in bed. No! You sold your time in bed last night and you swapped it for nonsense videos I literally can't remember. I can't tell you what I watched last night. It may as well have never happened. It's just gone forever. I just got less sleep. So today, I'm just a fraction less for the gain of nothing. Because that's how it works. You know, we're in the casino of the social medias. We're rolling the dice thinking we're going to get more out of this than we put in. I'm only giving it a bit of time. Just watch 1 or 2 more videos. And then when you're not rewarded, you can be like, oh, well, I'll go to sleep then. It's crackers. Addictive behaviours ties in to FOMO, or fear of missing out. It's too easy to think you need to stay in the loop, watching other people's lives. I promise, social media is unlimited. If you went off it for a year, you'd come back and nothing would have changed apart from they'd have probably added more things to it. Like Instagram adding threads. Just another way to try and get you, you know, you're not missing anything, I promise. Not at all. But it's so easy to just have it on your home screen, be doing nothing and think, wonder what's going on in the world. Well, there's always things going on in the world. That's like, you could turn the news channel on at any minute, and if you watched the news for 2 hours and 20 minutes a day, you'd probably also be depressed, thinking, wow, what a terrible place. When in reality, crime is the lowest it's ever been. Ever. But it feels like there's terrorist attacks every 2 weeks. No, there's actually way less. It's just because the world is so globalised, they just put things in front of you all the time. Just a big conveyor belt, an unlimited conveyor belt. Another one that's less common and less considered is privacy issues. These days, we're all cautious about privacy and not getting your information stolen online. I mean, every other advert on YouTube is for a VPN service to hide your IP address and your information. Yet, people put a photo on of their nice cars or their things outside their house and showing off watches, and the problem is, it wouldn't be great if these things were stories, but they're not temporary. You put stuff onto that feed that you forgot about, you know, pulling into your new house 3 years ago, but then today you've just bought yourself a new Lamborghini from selling your courses on how to buy a Lamborghini, and all of a sudden you just got to scroll back and you can find information that people forget is even there. You know, that might not be a big threat to most people, thinking, oh, well, no one's going to come and get me. Yeah, I get that, you know, but that's the same, people do that a lot. They downplay the chance of negatives and they upplay the chance of positives. People would think, I want to play the lottery this week. It might be a 1 in 50 million I'm going to win, but you've got to be in it to win it. But at the same time, you are literally more likely, if you were bought a lottery ticket on a Saturday, to die before the Tuesday draw. You're more likely to die. And nobody would say, I might only have 5 days to live. I need to go do some cool stuff before my time's up. Nobody ever thinks like that. You know, everybody thinks that cancer is for other people. You know, nobody ever thinks it's them. But everybody plays into that, well, it could be me if it's good, but it won't be me if it's bad. It isn't you until somebody throws a brick through your window and comes and steals your nice handbag that you left on the table. You know, it's not great. Be safe. Impact on physical health as well. This is another thing, it kind of ties into the time wasting element. That 2 hours and 20 minutes a day, if you spent just the 20 exercising every single day, you would be worlds better. In just a few months, you'd feel better, you'd be healthier, you'd have better longevity, you'd have less negatives from social media, but even just the positives of just doing 20 minutes a day, that still leaves you 2 hours to browse your nonsense. You know, when you put it like that, you think, and when you consider that 15 minutes is only 1% of a day, it's like, that's like 1.2%, 1.3% of a day to just exercise instead of watching nonsense. And the worst thing is, I feel like everybody's on the same page. It's like we know what food's bad. Social media is like junk food. It really is, it's so comparable. It's okay in moderation, you can have it now and again. But if you eat McDonald's for your lunch and your evening meal every single day, you are going to feel terrible. I don't even know how quick. I've never done that. That's horrific. And we all know that's horrific. That's not even realistic. But we look at it as social media and think, it's nothing. It's no big deal. Yeah, 1 McDonald's is no big deal. 2 McDonald's is no big deal. If you had a weekend and you only ate McDonald's, you'd probably be fine. You'd probably feel like arse, but you'd be fine. But that's the equivalent to having a binge on social media for 2 days. But we binge every day, for nearly 2.5 hours. Like I say, on average, there'll be some of the 5 billion users that don't log in today, and there'll be some that do 4 hours. There you go, that averages out to roughly 2 hours a day. But then there'll be some that use it for 8 hours, or 10 hours, or 12 hours a day, when they could be doing a myriad of other things, really improving their life. Right, so now we've gone through all the negatives. There's lots. I don't really know that there's many positives. It's kind of just glorified nosiness. It's like popping into your neighbour's house to watch them make the tea. Who can even be asked? Turn off notifications. Turn them all off. Put your phone on silent, turn every single notification off. It will benefit your life immensely. You will not miss a thing. If Auntie Deborah comments on your post, you do not need to see that right now. Break off from the task that you're doing, go on and say, thanks, hun. What? Why would you do that? Same again, that's like if somebody came and knocked on your door and they were like, yep, bins are going out on Friday, so don't forget. You'd be like, okay, I'm in the middle of something. Like, anything else? Go away. That's social media notifications. They're just out to drag you back. Like, come on, look what you're missing. You're not missing anything. Turn them off, easy fix. The second fix that I use personally, move the apps to a different page that's hard to reach. Like that, on page 3. I even put Instagram in the top left corner because even though I've got big hands, I've got a big phone and I can't quite reach it easily. So I don't click on it as much. It used to live on the homepage right there. But I used to find myself gravitating towards it all the time. I'd click and scroll and scroll and scroll and be like, why am I doing this? Put it on a different page. You don't have to delete it. Some people say, delete your accounts. It's too much. It's too much. That's the equivalent of saying, right, I'm going for a run. I'm going to do 26 miles. I'll bang a quick marathon out. It might be 24 miles. I can't remember. One of the two. You don't just bang a marathon out. No, you start from the beginning. You start by going for a walk. Start by just moving the app to even a different location on the page so it's not in that automatic placement. That's helped me tremendously. So move that app, put it on a different page, don't delete it because you'll only end up logging into it somewhere else and then we're wasting even more time. You could remove it from your homepage so it's just in the menu of apps and then you'll have to search for it every time you want it. That works. But then same again, these are just baby steps to get you sort of distanced. And also, I wouldn't recommend doing all these 3 at once. And the last thing, unfollow any negative influencers. Do you ever see a post and you're like, unfollow? It's that easy. They won't be offended, they won't know, they won't care. They're only looking for that number to go up. If they gain 3 followers today and lose 1, they just went, I've gained 2. That's it. You can vanish. You can just leave. It's like being at a party. You don't have to announce that you're going. You can just go. And people will continue the party and they'll do their own thing. But as we all know, when you get to a party, if you leave at the end, that's the worst time to leave. When they turn the lights on and it's a mess and everyone's a bit drunk, that's rubbish. You are always better leaving a party just before the end. Leave the party at 11 o'clock because there's no extra gain staying till 1, spending more money, getting more wasted. So the exact same applies to social media. Unfollow those people that don't bring you positivity. Seriously. People that are trying to force things down your neck. They're trying to give you information. If it's something you don't resonate with, unfollow. You just remove negative influences. The best way to do it, the whole thing is to not use social media. But I get it. You're watching this on social media right now. I mean, well done for you for finding a video looking for help. The first step in solving a problem is identifying it. And this is something that I've struggled with for a long time. And those few things, no notifications, unfollow a load of people and move that app to an awkward place, they work wonders. I don't think about Instagram anymore. It has to be a conscious decision of someone saying, have you seen? And it's like, no, but I'll have a look. Great, And it's the exact same logic. So yeah, we could be building more pyramids. Not realistic, but it just gives you an idea of the amount of time humanity is just pissing away And it'd be really great if you could just be a little more mindful, you know? Save this video, share it, like it, if it was useful. If you hated this video and it was awful, leave a dislike, it's fine. You know, I'm not offended, it's cool. Also, why don't you subscribe? We've got more of this coming, more self-improvement, more let's get better together. So yeah, have a wonderful day and just be mindful.